ערב שבת קודש, פרשת צו, ערב פסח also, and פרשת פרה also. The Sefer Vayikra was sponsored by one of a very important person that I know him very well, Raymond Saka, and he did it לכבוד his father, Yeshaya ben Lora. This week's parasha was sponsored by an anonymous לכבוד me. Hakadosh Baruch Hu will bless him with all the barachot that he needs. Hakadosh Baruch Hu will fulfill all his wishes letovah. This week's parasha, I will try to connect the parasha together with the coming holiday Pesach. In this week's parasha, we are talking about the Korbanot. Parashat Vayikra, over there, is written all the Korbanot, but Korban Todah was not written there. Korban Todah and Shlamim are written in Parashat Tzav. This is we have a special reason for this, but we will not get into it now. And the Pasuk says, Pasuk says about Korban Todah is a Korban Shlamim. There are several kinds of korbanot. There are korbanot that are being sacrificed totally on the altar, like korban olah. We have korban chatat that kohanim are eating from the korban. Korban shlamim is a korban that the person himself that sacrificed the korban, he himself eats majority of the korban. This is Korban Shlamim. Among Korban Shlamim comes in Korban Todah, and also in this category is Korban Pesach. Also, is also a kind of Korban Shlamim. Korban Shlamim says the Torah the following: V'im neder o nedava זבח קורבנו, ביום הקריבו את זבחו יאכל, וממחרת, והנותר ממנו יאכל, והנותר מבשר הזבח ביום השלישי באש ישרף. Every korban has also a time that you can eat the korban. And if the time passed, you are not allowed to eat it. It's called pigul, and you have to burn the korban. Korban shlamim, you eat 2 days and 1 night. The day that you sacrifice, the night, and the next day. We mentioned before that Korban Todah is also a Korban Shlamim. On what a person brings Korban Todah, says Rashi in Perek Zayin, Pasuk Yud Aleph, Yud Bet, says Rashi there, on what a person is bringing Korban Todah, on 4 things that happened to him, that he is thanking to Borei Olam for a ness that happened to him. Yordei Hayam, person who crossed the sea, Holchei Midbariyot, crossed the desert, Chabushei Beit HaAsurim, a person that went out of jail, and Chole Shenitrape, a person who was sick and he healed. And all of them are mentioned in Tehillim, in Perek Kuf Zayin of Tehillim. When we are, the question is here by the Korban Todah, is it an obligation to bring the Korban Todah? Somebody, let us say, crossed the sea. It has an obligation to bring Korban Todah? Or it's optional? From one hand, we see from the language of Rashi, he says, Im alachat me'ele nadar, if he made a neder. Rashi didn't say he has to bring. He says if he made a neder to bring of one of these nisim that happened to him. So we see from Rashi that it's not an obligation to bring, only if he made a neder to bring. And there is another proof that is being brought in the Mefarshim, that we know that a person has money that he put inside to give ma'aser. There are certain things of Kedusha that he can use the money. And there are things of Kedusha, even Kedusha, that he cannot use. Take an example for what a person can use and what he cannot use. A person cannot use money of Maaser of things that he is obligated to do. For instance, he wants to pay the tuition of his son less than 13 years old. He wants to use the Maaser for this. The answer is that he cannot use the money from Maaser for teaching his child, to pay the tuition, because he has an obligation to teach his son. But an older son, he has no obligation. Or he wants, let us say, to a little boy to add more learning to him, extra learning, to develop him much more. This is an extra thing. He doesn't have an obligation. He can use money of Maaser to pay to the teacher from this money. Now, there is a question. Does a person can take the money of Maaser and to buy Korban Todah? Yes or no? The Gemara says in Masechet Zevachim that a person, he can use the money of Maaser to buy Korban Todah. We see from here that Korban Todah is not an obligation, because if Korban Todah was an obligation, he wouldn't have been able to use the money of Maaser to buy Korban Todah. Nowadays, instead of Korban Todah, we are saying Birkat HaGomel, even though that in the Gemara, the Sechet Barachot, and Rashi mentioned only these 4 things, we might have said, only for these things you have to say HaGomel. But what would be if Chas v'Shalom a person was in an accident? It's not. It has nothing to do with he was in jail. He crossed the sea. He was sick. He crossed the desert. Does he has to say Hagomel nowadays? So some poskim are saying only these 4, but the majority of the poskim are saying to every nes that the person had, he has to say Birkat HaGomel. Now, when we are looking on Korban Todah, we see that Korban Todah is different than a regular shlamim. We just said some minutes ago that Korban Shlamim has a certain time to eat. 2 days and 1 night. Korban Todah is different. The Torah says, by Korban Todah, says the Torah, Beyom Korbano Ya'achel. On the day that you sacrificed, you can eat it. Lo yaniach mimenu ad boker. You can eat it the day and the night. Don't leave it to the morning. The next morning has to be burned. Means the Torah reduced the time to eating Korban Todah. But the question is, first of all, why? And the question becomes even greater. Because a regular Korban Todah, a regular Korban Shlamim, you sacrifice an animal. Korban Todah, you are sacrificing a bull. But not only the meat, you have to add to it 40 loaves of bread. 30 are being baked quick as matzah, not chametz, and 10 of them has to be baked chametz. This is what the Torah said. Totally 40 loaves of bread. Means to say it's a big korban. Meat plus 40 loaves of bread. A regular korban shlamim, you have 2 days and 1 night. Korban Todah, that has beside the meat also more loaves of bread, the Torah should have given more time to eat the korban. And we see that the Torah did not do it. The Torah reduced the time. So we have several questions here. First of all, why Korban Todah has different time? Korban Todah is a bigger korban, and we have to explain what is the difference. Explains the Mefarshim, Abarbanel, and other Mefarshim of the Chumash, and they are saying that Korban Todah, the purpose of Korban Todah is one purpose it has. And the purpose is to publicize the nes that happened to the person. That the person himself will publicize the nes. How he is doing it, how the nes is being publicized. The nes is being publicized by reducing the time of eating the korban. You have a whole bull, you have a family, how much a family can eat in 1 day, and 40 loaves of bread, how much they can eat. They cannot eat. And the person that brought the korban, he knows that every meat, everything that will be left over next morning, it will go to the Beit HaSereifah, it will be burned. And he doesn't want to burn it. So what he will do, he will invite a lot of people to come and to eat with him the korban. And he will send a lot of invitations to friends, neighbors, people around that will come to eat with the korban and the bread. And people will ask, what happened? Why he's doing this meal? And he will tell them, I had a nest, and the nest will be publicized among a lot of people. This is the purpose of Korban Todah, and therefore the Torah reduced the time in order to cause the publication of the nest that happened to this person. In Hallel, says the Netziv, we have a pasuk. Lecha ezbach zevach todah, uveshem amonai ekra. Lecha ezbach zevach todah, uveshem amonai ekra. You have to hear two things here. First of all, sacrificing, and to call in the name of Hashem. Two things in the Korban. Sacrificing the Korban. Number two, publicizing what Borei Olam did. Nedarai lamonai hashalem, the Korban, negdana lechol amo, in front of all the people, in front of a lot of people. Because of this, we are saying also, instead of Korban Todah, nowadays, when we are saying Birkat HaGomel, we are saying something similar to it. Odeh Amonai besod yesharim ve'eida. We are making it in the Eidah, among the people, to publicizing that something happened, and this happened to the person. And therefore, because of this, we see that Korban Todah has several things. Sacrificing the Korban, and the main thing is publicizing the nest. And we see that in this Korban, we have also chametz in the Korban. 10 loaves of chametz, and the Torah wrote a special it ended with these things, with the chametz, because chametz is the chametz. We will explain in a few minutes why the chametz is coming here in the korban, because usually we don't have chametz in korban. In מקדש. only מצה, ככל שאור וכל דבש, לא תקטירו ממנו אישל עמוני. And here, Korban Todah, we do sacrifice chametz. Explains the Sforno, explains why chametz, because chametz symbolizes the Yetzer Hara. A person who had a miracle means to say he fell into a problem. Explain the Sforno, why did he fall into the problem? Because of a sin that the person did. So the sin is being symbolized by the chametz. But we have 30 kinds of baking of matzah, not chametz. The majority is matzah, not chametz, to show that Borei Olam nevertheless saved you. The matzah overcame the chametz, and you were saved. That in order the person will remember the sin that caused him to fall into the problem, and this is being done by the loaves of chametz. And that he was saved is being symbolized by the matzah that he eats. We are close to Pesach. Korban Pesach. What kind of korban is it? We know it's korban shlamim because the person eats the majority of the korban. Explain the Mefarshim that Korban Pesach is also a Korban Todah. First of all, Korban Pesach is Korban Todah because we were in Egypt. Egypt was for Am Israel like a jail, like Beit HaAsurim. מוציא אסירים בכושרות, פסוק in תהילים. Symbolizes Mitzrayim. So we have to bring for this. Another thing, Borei Olam brought a lot of plagues on the Egyptians. And Am Israel were saved from these plagues. So some Mefarshim wants to say that this is also a reason that, like Chole Shenitrape, a person that was sick and he was healed. This Borei Olam saved us from all this sickness. So there is Korban, in Korban Pesach, there is a symbol of Korban Todah. When we read this, we publicizing also the nest that happened. How we publicizing it? By the Haggadah Shel Pesach. The Haggadah is also a way of publicizing. As Korban Todah you publicize, Korban Pesach also you publicize. And therefore, we can understand what is the question of the son that he is asking on the night of Pesach. Ma nishtana? The second question that the boy asks is, שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים. Some Haggadot is written chametz u'matzah. We have a גרסה chametz or matzah. According to the text that is written chametz u'matzah, we have a question. What does it mean we eat every night? We eat chametz and matzah? A person, when if he wants to eat during the week, either he eat chametz or he eat matzah. What is chametz u'matzah? What is the question of the boy here? Explains the Mefarshim. The question of the boy is, Abba, Korban Pesach is a Korban Todah. Every night that we sacrifice Korban Todah means not every night, a night after a night. And every night when we are sacrificing Korban Todah, we eat chametz and matzah, because we have 40 loaves, 30 matzah and 10 chametz, and we have to eat both of them. And we eat both of them. Why? On the night of Pesach, we don't eat chametz. This night is totally matzah. Why? It is Korban Pesach. It's Korban Todah. We should have eat also chametz tonight. Why we don't eat chametz, only matzah? All nights we are eating chametz and matzah when we sacrifice Korban Todah. And why today not? Answer to this is that Sforno explained why you bring the chametz. We mentioned the chametz is being brought because the person fell into the problem because he sinned, and therefore he had to he had and he sinned, and therefore he fell into the problem, and Borei Olam saved him. And therefore he brings the Korban. So he brings also the Chametz to symbolizes also the reason why he fell into the problem, because of Yetzer Hara. Korban Pesach we sacrifice because we went out of jail from Egypt. The reason that we were in jail in Egypt, according to the majority of the Mefarshim, is not because of a sin. It's not like a person a regular person that was in jail and came out. He went to jail because a sin happened to him. And because Am Israel went to Egypt because of another reason. Because this was the iron furnace. Olam wanted to prepare us to become a nation. So it's not because of a sin we went to Egypt and we were in jail in Egypt. This was for our sake to become a nation. So since there is no sin here that we were sitting in jail in Egypt, therefore we don't need to bring the chametz, and therefore we are eating on the night of Pesach only matzah. This is the question of the boy. שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים חמץ ומצה, הלילה הזה כולו מצה. I want to thank Isaac Dweck and Avram Shomer for helping this shiur, and to wish everyone Birkat Shabbat Shalom. Mitzvah Hashem, we will meet Mitzvah Hashem next week also. Shabbat Shalom.